Like these young men that are being destroyed, there are solutions to that.
Thank you, Andrew. I kept thinking about how the reason why trauma is such an effective crop to harvest or an effective force to be weaponized is that if you're combining biological, historical, and mythical in one thing and trauma, you basically have meaning. That's meaning. And meaning is not only transgenerational, it's like trans country, it's almost trans, you know, planet. I mean, meaning is its own um, seed of the future. So this is where I start to get into the futurist stuff, which is whatever seeds you're planting with this meaning, with this biological, mythical, and historical background, it's going to grow up into something. And so we're to make the change or poke the influences right at that seed. So, but you don't understand that it's a seed if you don't understand the meaning through time. It's really beautiful.
So one thing you haven't mentioned, Andrew, in this kind of evil brew that our young men live in is the gaming culture, which pops up in so many of these biographies. And you mentioned that wonderful phrase you used about images we shouldn't see. I would love you to repeat it.
Yeah, the lust of the
So,
eye.
say it again.
The lust of the eye.
The lust. Oh my God, that was just amazing. And I don't mean to trivialize it by saying that. But anyway, I don't know if you have any comments to make about where this gaming culture doesn't fit into the stew.
I can only speak from my own personal experience or lack of experience, but like when I've sat down to play, I know this is probably gonna be really controversial for a lot of people, but there's something that happens to my being when I've played a game, even a benign, non-violent game. I've never really played one of those violent games, but just like a surfing game where we were like hanging out between sessions. I definitely notice a certain deadening of my nervous system when that's going on. And that's just like trying to get Kelly Slater to do a quadruple flip off the lip kind of thing. Um, there's something to me that is really dangerous, maybe even call it diabolical, about the way that the games create a repetitive normalization of violence. And I know people have talked about this and they talk about it a lot, but I'm not sure they understand what is actually happening.
Yeah.
And someone down in Silicon Valley once asked me, what percentage of neuroscientists actually work in the field of neuroscience, like for the general public good? And I'm like, I don't know, like 95%. They're like, no, it's just the opposite.
It's like
95,
five.
yeah,
Yeah.
95% work here in Silicon Valley to like create this machine. And I was like, wow, there's going to be a long line in trying to explain my behavior at the gate with Peter, you know? It's like, okay, so you're a neuroscientist and you did what with your talents? Okay, right? But I think that there is obviously a lot of skill going into those games in terms of generating a particular outcome, in terms of, Julia, what you're saying, to disrupt meaning making to such a fundamental degree. You can't get those young men to serve the East Indian country. You can't get a
Company.
Columbus. What?
The East India Company.
East India Company.
Yeah,
You
so
can't,
just yet again, right into your capital point about capital. So the
yeah.
colonial wedge, the wedge of the British Empire was actually a capital
Hmm.
intensive company.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And so everything has that. It has that component where we're disrupting our mental perceptive capability. And you can do that through repetitive exposure to trauma.
Which includes porn, by the way, is trauma inducing.
And I mean, I just generally the streaming culture. It's one of the things that just drives me nuts about social interaction these days is almost always one of the first questions someone asks you is, what are you watching? As if this was the purpose of my life. I am highly annoyed by it.
You
You
should
got,
just answer like I worked at the CIA for 30 years. I'm watching you.
I
No,
know
no.
you should. Well, here in Montana, they'd be like, "Well, I'm not watching anything because I just came off like a week-long bow hunting trip for
Yeah, I'll
mountain
see.
goats, right?"
Yeah.
But